you're not building muscle, you're just moving weights. And heavier you lift, the worse it becomes. You have been told that more weights means more growth. But what if this is exactly what is stopping you grow? Just look around the gym and you will see most people simply chase number. They're trying to lift more weights. You see they're piling more plates. Obviously, that leads to fewer reps, faster sets, and yet most physiques never change because what they've been told is incomplete. It is true that you need to lift weights in order to build muscle, but you have to understand that your muscles are the end and the weights are the means. So it has to stay that way. You're lifting weights to build muscles. It should never be other way around. It should never be that your weights are the end and your muscles are the means. Because if you start doing that, if you start like everybody else, just simply chasing weights, you will go nowhere. You will never change. In this video, I'm going to show you what exactly builds muscle and why most people never experienced it. One of the biggest mistakes in bodybuilding is thinking that weights build muscle. And you have been told that over and over again. And this is now the trend. For whatever reason, people are simply just trying to lift heavier weights. You have been told that more weights, more muscle. You have to go to failure. You have to kill the muscle in order to grow. You need to constantly overload the muscle. But what actually happens? The heavier you go, the less muscle is doing the work. What happens in reality with most people is that heavier they lift, less muscle they engaged. The reason for that is that heavier lifts usually mean shorter reps, wrong form, and also low volume, low number of reps. This also leads to lower number of sets because by lifting too heavy, you're exhausting yourself. You're simply destroying your central nervous system, which responds directly to that super intense exhaustion. This is not stimulation. You're not stimulating growth. You're simply destroying your central nervous system. And you are getting fatigued before you actually stimulate the muscle. So what happens to majority of people when they start chasing weights and use weights as the end and their muscles as the means is actually they simply never change. And also they dramatically increase the risk of injuries. And there are many studies done on that subject. One of those very important studies that you can read if you click the link in the description, because I'm going to link all these studies for you so you can read them if you want, is done by Brad Shenfield in 2017. And the study is called the dose-response relationship between weekly resistance training volume and muscle growth. And the study actually proves that what creates growth, what promotes growth, is actually volume and is not that crazy, super intense, short workouts, low volume, low number of reps, low number of sets, and obviously everything done in the wrong form. What you need to understand is that muscle doesn't respond to weight, it responds to tension. Your muscle doesn't know how much weight you lift, it just doesn't care about it. What muscle responds to is tension, controlled form, and volume. So if you think that the last rep builds muscle, no, it doesn't. So don't try to go to that last rep to failure, thinking that's the one that is going to change everything. No, it's not. Muscle growth is not created at the end of the set. It's created during entire set. This is why every set should last X amount of time. This is known as time under tension. And that time under tension has to be long enough to stimulate growth of as many muscle fibers as possible. The problem with going too heavy is that most people, by chasing weights, simply never apply enough tension on the targeted muscle. The tension disappears from the muscle, and obviously the load goes on connective tissues, on joints, and on different muscles. By doing that, you're simply cutting corners and making easier in order to overcome resistance which is too heavy for example, biceps in biceps curls. So you can lift heavier, but your biceps can't manage that. This is why you have to lean back, you need to do cheating, you need to move your shoulders, your lower back, you use all kind of muscles and tendons in order to move that weight. But your biceps will never grow. This applies for every single muscle. So if you don't do proper form, and if you just lift in order to lift heavier, you are not a bodybuilder, you are simply a laborer. And also going heavier destroys simply every rep, because most of the time going heavier means shorter reps, not full contraction, full extension of the muscle, obviously wrong form, and this is not the way that you will build muscle. So your muscle will only grow if you perform exercise in perfect form, if you control your eccentric part of the repetition, which is lowering the weight, and that can only happen if the form is right. If you achieve full contraction, especially in the exercises which will allow you to do that, to benefit not just from slow eccentrics, full extension under the load, but also with full contraction. So technique like peak contraction are very effective, but they don't apply to every exercise. For example, if you do standing calf raises, you can do peak contraction. If you do shrugs, you can do peak contraction. If you do bent over barbell rowing, you can do the same thing. If you do cable rowing, you can do the same thing. If you do biceps curls, especially on the machines, you can do full contraction, because in that position, all these muscles in the exercises that I have just mentioned will be still under stress. So you will still have full tension when you come all the way up on the machine. So these are the ways, these are techniques that your muscles have to be exposed to in order to fully grow. Another problem with going too heavy is that you think that because you are sweating, that your heart is pumping, that you are feeling tired, that you are doing something. You are doing nothing. You're simply exhausting yourself. But you need to understand that fatigue is not growth. Fatigue is simply just fatigue. You can fatigue yourself, and that's fine. And you should never confuse these two, because fatigue created by lifting too heavy is not growth. So they are separate things. And let me tell you a few stories from my own experience training with my clients. I had many clients who came to me in the last 40 years and who came from previous trainers and guys who have been exposed to heavy duty training system, going to failure, always chasing maximum weights, believing that one set is everything that they need to do. And what has happened? Some of them spent years with their trainers and they never changed. They got injured and they got frustrated because, guys, you have to be realistic and objective when you're looking at yourself. I know that's difficult, but you have to. People came to me and said, you know what? I look in the mirror and after 4 years of training, I'm still the same. I can't see my six-pack. I'm not in very good shape. I have shoulder injury, elbow injury, knee injury, whatever, all kind of injuries. And my trainer is still asking me to do the same thing. Lift heavier, go more weights, more focus on that last set, force reps. And they've been doing that. And nothing happened. And then they come to me. So what happens? We change things. For example, Brady was my client that I've seen, I think it was 10 years ago. Brady came from Canada just to spend 6 months training with me. So he came to London, rented a flat close to the gym, and Brady started training with me. So first thing that I explained to him is exactly what I'm talking to you. Weights are not that important. What is important is form, is tension, obviously time under tension, full control of your concentric and especially eccentric repetitions, and obviously high number of reps and high number of sets. When I say high number of reps, you can also translate that into right time under tension. Usually for upper body is 8 to 12 reps. That will be anywhere from every rep from 3 to 4 seconds. And that will give you enough time under tension to develop your upper body muscles. Why I'm saying 8 to 12 reps? Why not 4 to 6 reps? Because most people can really control every concentric within 1 to 2 seconds and every eccentric in 2 seconds. There are people who can train slower. In that case, they can do less reps, but this is very rare. And this is not something that you can do for a long time. If you go 3 seconds up, 5 seconds down, it's very destructive. This is not, in theory, yes, you can do that, but in reality, this is not going to happen. So what I'm saying to you is directly from experience, but also from scientific research that has proven for so many times that this time and attention is critical. So when I say 8 to 12 reps, this is an average for most people. Some people can do less reps if they do them slower. When it comes to legs, the same principles apply, but I advise 12 to 20 or even more reps. So I started doing that with Brady, and after 10 weeks, Brady ended up in amazing shape. After 4 months of training, Brady was ready to compete. Brady competed and he won his first show. Then he returned to Canada. He was extra satisfied, very, very happy, and he has changed for life. And as you can see on these photos, obviously, Brady achieved tremendous success. The same applies to another client. Matt Young came to me, again from previous trainers, heavy weights, low number of reps, low number of sets, high carbs, medium protein, and similar nonsense. And he looked the way he looked. You can see that on the pictures. Again, I explained to Matt everything that I've done with Brady and other clients. Matt listened. He was consistent. We were training 4 times per week. And after 10 weeks, 12 weeks, Matt changed beyond recognition, as you can see on the images. The same happened to so many other people. The same happened to Panos. The same happened to Andrew and many, many other clients. So you see, these principles, this is not something arbitrary. This is not something that works for some people but not for other people. All these people, by the way, that I mentioned to you were natural. So just look at these images, how much you can change if you're natural. People don't believe me. People also talk about my son. They said, oh, Milos is on steroids. There is no way you can be like that. No, he's never been. He's not even taking vitamins. He takes protein shakes sometimes and vitamins maybe once a week when he remembers. And this is what we achieve with these principles. So principles are simply undeniable. You can't deny reality. Forget about everything else. There are a lot of biased scientific papers done to promote particular training systems. But guys, we can't discover America again. It has been discovered. We know what builds muscles from 60s, from 70s, all the way up till now. Everybody's doing the same. Absolutely no difference. Even people who promote heavy duty, they never did it. They're just selling it as a fable, and people are buying to it. People coming, everybody who says on comments, I'm doing Mike Mentzer system, I'm progressing amazing, I'm very happy, this is all wrong about high volume. Can you show me a picture? Can we see you? No. You know why? Because you did not progress. You're just fooling yourself. You may become a bit stronger and that's it, but you will never be in shape and you will never have dense muscles. You never see your six-pack. Your arms are never going to be covered in veins, not to mention your legs or glutes, etc. They never produce any single image, all these doubters. And what about Mike Mentzer himself? Mike Mentzer was training clients and he had amazing success. And really, can we see the picture of any of his clients? Anything you can see, there are a couple of guys who are fat, no muscles. These are his clients. Where are the clients from Mike Mentzer? So I'm giving you proofs. You can go on my website and you can enjoy scrolling as long as you want and also listening to these clients. They're real people. I didn't invent them. I didn't make any fake before and after on my website, as many do. And also, like a famous heavy-duty guru, I don't just talk about my clients. I show you my clients. So you can see them, you can call them, you can talk to them. Where are other clients from other famous trainers? Where are they? Everybody's pumping the world with some amazing promises, but where are those clients? What are they? Phantoms, ghosts, aliens? They're hiding in dark forests or somewhere? No, because they don't exist. So what I'm telling you is simply proven over and over again. I've personally done it. with my clients, with thousands of them in the last 40 years. And again, what can I say about that last rep, which is the most important? You know, when people perform that last rep and then they drop dead on the floor and start throwing tantrums and all other nonsense, walking around like super tired or some great Spartans or warriors, you understand? This is absolutely ridiculous, because that last rep, that last famous rep, which is all-out rep, doesn't do anything to you. Muscles don't grow from single rep. Muscle growth is cumulative. It's not one moment. It's repeated stimulus over time. So you have to do many reps in proper form in order to create that stimulus. And heavy lifting and chasing that last rep as the ultimate goal is simply limiting the ability to accumulate that tension in a set, in a workout. And again, research has been done on that subject by Jozo Grgic in 2022. You can read the paper again. I'm posting the link. Effects of resistance training performed to failure versus non-failure. And in that research has been proved that you can train to failure, you can have some results, but it's not necessary, because you can have better results if you don't train to failure, but you increase the volume of quality reps, hence quality sets. And remember, failure is not magic. Failure can reduce total training volume and also recovery capacity. So if you do 2-3 sets to ultimate failure, that can kill your recovery, because you will overstress your central nervous system. Instead, if you do sets which are near failure, you will not kill your recovery capacity, because recovery, especially of your central nervous system, is directly related to that intensity. If you train with intensity which is too high, you will simply overstress your CNS. Now, there are two types of muscle growth. And by training like this, heavy, all out, always to failure, you are missing on one or even on both. These two types of muscle growth are myofibrillar growth and also sarcoplasmic growth. And if you think that strength equals size, no, it doesn't. Muscle growth has two components: myofibrillar, which relates to strength and density, and sarcoplasmic, which relates to size and fullness. Most people train only for myofibrillar growth, believing that this is the way to go. This is what, for example, powerlifters do. And yes, you're going to become stronger, but you will never have the size and fullness of a bodybuilder. But bodybuilders, they train differently. And another research has proven exactly that. And this is by Brett Shenfield in 2016. The research was called Effect of Resistance Training Frequency on Muscle Hypertrophy. Feel free to click on the link in the description and you can read about this in detail. Also, remember that only perfect reps build muscle, not heavy reps. Your body responds to tension, duration, and control. And most reps in the gym don't meet that standard. And you need to understand this, that these ideas are not separate. They are simply one system. Volume creates the stimulus. So you have to have enough volume in your workout, meaning X amount of reps and X amount of sets. Tension defines the quality. So if there is no tension, these reps and these sets, they don't mean anything. Also, you have to control every single rep, because if the form is not right, nothing is going to happen. And you need to allow recovery for growth. This is why I suggest training every muscle once per week. If you miss one of these important issues, you're going to weaken everything, because everything simply works in synergy. It's one system, like human body. You eliminate one system, the body will be finished. You eliminate one vital organ and you will die. So this is called synergy. All of these important things, they work together when it comes to muscle growth. Here is the truth. Muscle growth is not about intensity. But remember, intensity understood in the conventional wrong way, which is linked to heavy weights and going to failure. So that is a dogma, that is a hype, that is a show-off, macho training. Forget about it. When I talk about intensity, there is something more important attached to it. I only consider intensity that can allow muscle growth without injuries, without overstressing your CNS, and without wasting your time in the gym. And the intensity that I talk about is directly related to, number one, tension. Number two, control, meaning form. Number three, volume. And also, number four, necessary minimum of rest between the sets. So if you put all these four factors together, then we are talking real intensity. Not that gym bro philosophy of intensity is heavy weights and going to failure. Not at all. This is simply wrong and is not going to take you anywhere. And muscle growth is all about sustained, repeatable stimulus over time. So this is the reason why you're not growing. It's not because you're not working hard or working enough. It's because your effort is simply misdirected. So you're chasing weights instead of building muscle. So next time you pick up the weight, ask yourself, are you training the muscle or you're just moving the weight? Because that answer simply determines everything. After 40 years in bodybuilding, competing 46 times and winning 17 titles, training over 3,500 clients, I have published for you 12 ebooks which are fully loaded with detailed information about everything that you always wanted to know about bodybuilding. So if you want to expand your knowledge and widen your horizons, finally start building muscles, burning fat, and stop wasting time in the gym, simply click on that link down in the comments and you can download my ebooks. Also, I have published for you Bodybuilding Blueprint course, which is made of 8 videos in which I personally demonstrate and explain the most effective exercises for major muscle groups. So this is a great opportunity for you to learn how to perform every single exercise in perfect form without wasting time in the gym. If interested, again, click that link in the comments and you can access my Bodybuilding Blueprint course. So guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, share the video, and also send me your comments. And until the next video, I wish you all the best.